3 years ago, the term war on terror was just starting to become part of our vocabulary. When President Bush was asked recently if the war on terror could be won, he said, "I don't think you can win it." The president later said the U.S. will win the war on terror, but it won't end with a conventional victory and peace treaty. In our hot topic tonight, what would a victory in the war on terror look like, and what would it take to actually achieve it? Michael Ignatieff has written a book and articles on that subject, and he joins us now, and you're also with the New York Times. Hi, Michael.
Nice to see you, Frederica.
Good to see you, too. All right, well, you've talked to a lot of people in and outside of Washington, done extensive research on this very topic. Why is it that this question elicits such a varied response, even from within the Bush administration?
Well, the Bush administration and the Kerry campaign don't want to sound defeatist about a war on terror. So if you say it can't be won, it makes you sound as if you're throwing up your hands in despair. I actually think the president didn't misspeak. I don't think you can win a war on terror the way you can win a conventional military campaign, but you can certainly disrupt terrorist hiding places, you can pursue and track down terrorists, you can disrupt their financial networks, you can, above all, reduce the risk that people like us face daily. That is, victory in a war on terror looks like living without fear, and there's no reason why we couldn't live without fear. But getting rid of terrorism permanently, no chance.
And that in part because there are so many variations of terrorism as well. And the attack 9/11 wasn't the first. It's just the first of that scale to hit the U.S. Terrorism has been taking place in so many places, just at such a distance to Americans.
Exactly. I don't think Americans until 9/11 understood that terrorism has been a permanent feature of modern life for 200 years. And European societies, I mean Britain for example, has lived with major terrorist threats, for example, for the last 40 years in Northern Ireland. And Northern Ireland shows you, in fact, what victory looks like. You don't eliminate terrorism in Northern Ireland, but if you go to Belfast, Northern Ireland now, you can walk the streets in security. Political reform in the province, counter-terrorist measures combined have reduced the risk of terrorism in that part of the United Kingdom, and it looks pretty much like victory to me.
So does that mean resigning to the fact that it is likely to happen, it will always happen, it is now a constant?
I don't want to, I hate the idea of constant as much as you do. I don't want to live constantly in fear. I don't want my kids to grow up living in fear. But we just have to, I think, realize that wherever there is deep discontent and rage, particularly directed towards the United States, I just think someone is going to be tempted to pick up a bomb. I just think it's a permanent temptation. The best we can do is have good counterterrorism methods. We've got to support the right regimes in the Middle East. We've got to spread democracy. We've got to be tough. We've got to prepare ourselves against terrorist attacks. We shouldn't oversell the possibility of final victory. We have to be prudent and determined. And above all, I mean, the key thing here is not to live in fear.
But won't there be a feeling among Americans, perhaps a myopic view, that if there isn't another attack on U.S. soil, then the war has been won? If there is another attack on the scale of 9/11, then it hasn't been won?
Yeah, I can see that. I can imagine that in the wake of a subsequent attack on the United States, that everybody would say, well, we lost. That's also wrong. It seems to me we're dealing with very determined enemies. They have been divided by our counterterror campaign. They've been beaten back. I think Osama bin Laden, if he is alive, is definitely on the run, does not have command and control of his apparatus. But I think that a further mass casualty attack on the United States is possible. I don't think if it happens that this means a massive defeat. I don't think victory means we'll never be attacked again. I just think attack is possible. European societies have lived with this for years and years. The Spanish have lived with Basque terrorism for a very long time. The British have lived with terrorism in Northern Ireland. And the United States will probably have to do the same.
Michael Ignatieff, thanks so much of the New York Times. Thanks for being with us tonight.
Pleasure, Frederica.